the single most important factor, at least I believe it is, in making sure your items sell in a timely manner. Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. Welcome to the Commonwealth cabin. Got two great topics today, including a mea culpa, where I take back everything I ever said about Goodwill, not having anything good anymore. The second thing is the important one, the number 1, 2, and 3 reasons why you can't get items to sell on eBay. Going to talk about that as it applies to all of us, and we're going to squeeze in 24 sales today. Not huge dollar sales, but still making close to around $1,000 bucks. Let's go take a look. So since we do have so many sales today, I'm going to mix them in with these two topics. One of them fun and one of them a little bit more important. Lita Ford right here. This one's got pretty darn good condition, y'all. Really, really good condition. And that one is popular record, popular cover, $37.95 plus shipping. I don't know which one y'all want to start with, but I want to start with the Goodwill one, and it suits my interests more. But let me tell you, the other one is more important, and it's a lesson I've learned. Yeah, I've already known it, but I've learned it more even lately. All right, I got to find this. I think it's that one back there. Some Longaberger baskets, one of them. And this one was at a yard sale. It was unbelievably cheap. Everything was so cheap. And she said, just make a pile. And I started. And then this was the only thing that she really wanted some decent money for, were these Longaberger baskets. And I was certainly willing to pay it after all the great deals. But these were still pretty cheap. I think I paid $5 for this one. I like to get the ones with the little dividers inside. Longaberger's not always amazing, but in this case it was $33.20 plus shipping. So let's start with Goodwill. My wife sent me a link to a story because she knew I'd like it, because she knows I love history. I'm actually not an American history buff, but I do like the very, very beginnings, pre-Revolutionary War, and through that. I enjoy that a lot, and Turner really likes it. So she sent me this story, and since I've always, well, I haven't always ripped Goodwill, but lately, you know, as the prices go up a little bit, I get a little salty, because I used to go in there and find stuff all the time, right? And she's like, look, you can still find stuff. So, man finds scrap of George Washington's tent at thrift store. The tiny cloth fragment is now on view at the Museum of the American Revolution. They go on to talk about savvy thrifters, and you know, you can find all kinds of treasures at the Goodwill and all that stuff. A little harder these days because they're combing through everything to sift through the real treasure and put it online or put it somewhere else or in a boutique or upcharge or whatever it is. And that's their right to do. That's their stuff. They've got donated to them. So that's the first part of the story, but it gets more interesting than that. It says, collector Richard Dana Moore was understandably skeptical when he saw the online listing auction, so it was on their auction site, a purported scrap of the nation's first president's Revolutionary War tent in back in 2022. There are a lot of fakes out there. There's always something that's not real that looks to be real, he told CNN. But after 2 weeks hesitation, I jumped in with both feet. I said, hell with it. I'm going to bid on it. I got to tell you, if I would have known it was on there, I would have taken that gamble too, just because of, I mean, you just don't find that kind of stuff. Moore won the auction, paying just over $1,700 for a tiny fragment of a faded white linen, about 4 by 5 inches with red trim. The lot included a handwritten note claiming the artifact had been shown in the 1907 exhibition celebrating the 300th anniversary of the founding of Jamestown, the first permanent English settlement. Speaking of history, and we're going to get back to that story in a second, this is the only piece, I think, in that huge history homeschooling lot that I bought. And this is going to tie into the rest of the video, actually. That wasn't history. This was connecting and literature, although I'm sure there's quite a bit of history in it. So, actually, you know what? This may be history, like a crossover into literature, and like a supplemental thing for that set. But anyway, this thing sold for $55 plus shipping. Are you two here for the history lesson? Or are you here for the treats? I know the answer to that, huh? There you go. There you go. He says in the story that he initially hid the purchase from his wife because he wasn't sure it was a good use of funds, and she might not like it too much. Sound design, I just can't resist these because they just look so 80s to me with those colors. And that one sold for $18.95 plus shipping. So instead of telling her, which by the way, if I spent $1,700, my wife would know. Just saying. Not because I'd tell her, but because she'd find out. It's like a sense that I think she has. But after conferring with experts at the Museum of the American Revolution in Philadelphia, which seems appropriate, which owns Washington's war tent, he was convinced he had a sliver of the genuine article and that it's likely worth tens of thousands of dollars. I imagine I've put up a picture by now. If I haven't, and I'll put up another one, I suppose. Based on careful examination by a conservator, the institution believes that the hand stitching on Moore's Goodwill find is a match not to the war tent, but to a second tent that would have served as Washington's dining room. And the curator of the exhibit says that they were able to identify it multiple ways, but one of the things they initially saw was the fact that it had the red trim on it of the edge of the roof, which was really, really helpful because it's like some kind of flax linen or something of the sort. Dumbledore. I probably should have made sure my daughter didn't want this before I sold it, but she loves Dumbledore. This one, what did I pay for these? $4, I think is what I paid for them. And I had it listed for $30, and it had quite a few watchers, and somebody sent me an offer for $20, and I'm like, it's kind of a pain to ship, and whatever. And the last minute, I'm like, you know what? It's taking up a good amount of space over there. We sold through most of those pops that I bought, and I usually don't buy pops unless they're for a live show or something, but in this case we went through them and made sure the only ones we bought were the ones that had decent sell-through rate, which we'll get into in a little bit, and this one was okay, but I took it. It's pretty cool. Somebody got a good deal, and I'm gonna make like 12 bucks on it, so for that packaging job I might find the right box. It won't be too hard, but I'll take that profit. And you know I love history, so give me just a second. We're gonna get back to eBay here. Washington first used the tents as his mobile field headquarters at Valley Forge in the spring of 1778 until his death in 1799. The structures were stored at his home in Mount Vernon, Virginia. Washington had no children of his own, so George Washington Parke Custis, the grandson of Martha Washington and her first husband, inherited the tents. The younger Parke used to regularly set up the tents during parties. He was also known to cut off straps that he gave away as souvenirs. As the young nation grew, the tents acquired an almost mystic status. In 1824, on the occasion of Revolutionary War hero Marquis de Lafayette when he returns to the U.S. from France, the war tent traveled to Fort McHenry in Baltimore. I have a glass sale in here I'm going to pick up, but since I was in here, I thought I'd show you. I've been buying a lot lately. Yard sales, even a few private deals, and we have a massive quantity of vintage clothing, some of which will be on eBay, but the vast majority of it is going to end up over on shopcommons.net. So if you love bell bottoms from the early 70s and stuff like that, we're going to put some really good lots over there. But I made a little eBay sale with this Indiana glass diamond pattern, little fairy lamp thing, and that one sold to Jody, I think. Is that right? $24.95 plus shipping. This actually reminds me of, I don't know if you are from SoCal, but if any of you are, Love's Restaurant. We used to go to that in San Bernardino when I was a kid, and they had these on all the tables. A lot of restaurants back then had these on all the tables. Let's finish this story up and then get to what I know is the single most important factor, at least I believe it is, in making sure your items sell in a timely manner. So reuniting with other surviving Continental officers inside the structure, Lafayette and the others assembled and shed tears of glory, gratitude, and joy, according to an account from future President John Quincy Adams. The Museum of American Revolution is currently holding an exhibition marking the 200th anniversary of that visit. The show reunites all of the known fragments of the tents, including Moore's newly discovered scrap, the only one in private hands. Have no doubt it's the only one in private hands. So, I don't know. Everybody says you should go back and, not everybody, but pay people, you find a big, you think he went back and gave Goodwill more money? I sure hope he didn't. Should he sell it now? Should he sell it to a museum? Should he keep it? Man, I'd be tempted to keep that thing. I'd donate it to a museum every time they had an exhibition, though. That thing would be cool. Snap-on tools. One thing about the system I have of putting like items or categorized items in bins is I know, obviously, when something gets full, that there's an issue. I can't just keep piling it in. So I either slow the buying or I go through it and find the items that are low sell-through rate, whatever, and I tweak them, I adjust them, I get them sold. This is part of that huge Snap-on buy that I had at that wrestling card deal too, which was crazy, where I bought this right here at Superstars Cards that goes for insane money. And this stuff all sold. I think we have 2 pieces left now with this sale. And it's just a snap-on VersaVolt charger, $24.95 plus shipping. You've probably heard me talk about before PPT, pictures, price, and title, or price, pictures, and title. The Reseller Information Network boys talk about that, and those things are all important for sure. However, I really think that there is one factor that just trumps everything, absolutely everything, for making sure you don't have a store full of stuff that doesn't sell. And that is paying attention to sell-through rate. It is the single most important thing. It's the second most important thing. It's the third most important thing. And I often ignore it, but I ignore it only based on certain factors that are relevant to me. And those factors may be very different as they relate to you. I've said before, I think I can handle 2,000 items in my current setup, and I might change it once I get to that point, but I might not. I might just keep it at 2,000 and begin to focus more and more and more on being able to get rid of the older inventory and putting in good inventory that is going to have a high sell-through rate. I'm going to give you some examples of why it's so important, and what happened to me over the last couple of weeks has really reinforced what I already knew about this, and I'm making sure now that I have all these other outlets to sell things off, that the items I'm putting in my store meet certain requirements. An ASP requirement, which I break those rules every once in a while. A requirement just based on my soul, which is it's cool. I don't care about a lot of things, don't have to be cool. But sometimes if the sell-through rate's not good, but I think the item is awesome and I want it on my shelf, I'll do it. But those are exceptions. My sales the last couple weeks have been really good, but they would have been really, really bad if it wasn't for one particular buy that I made of massive quantity of high sell-through rate items that are flying off my shelf. So if you have been watching my channel for the last 3 episodes, you've noticed I've been selling a ton of these right here. And this has really boosted my store up overall, of course, because these are very high sell-through rate items, especially right now before school starts again. This is, homeschooling stuff, but they just don't use it in homeschools. They use it in, I believe they use it in a lot of Christian schools as well. And anyway, these things are insane. And I'm going to sell over $1,000 worth of this stuff in like 10, 12 days. And that really, really helps. But it really reinforces me when I look at items like this, back here, a lot of this stuff's been sitting here for a long time. And if you go and look at backup to relist it and focus on that sell-through rate, it's dismal for some of those items. So then that other stuff comes into play a lot more. The price, the picture, and the title. But these have been amazing, selling between like $14.95, $19.95. This one's the low one, I think, at $10. These are going for like $29.95, $25. This one went for $55. And I made my money back on the very first one, and there's a basket full of them, and we're not done with them yet. One just sold while I walked inside to get the other stuff. And that really just proves to me that if you have to have those things right? You can't have a price that's ridiculously overpriced. You can't have titles that don't allow people to find your stuff. That can't happen. And you can't have pictures where somebody just is turned off by the picture. So you got to have those things in place. But the number one factor, because a lot of these old items that haven't sold for me, and I'm going to pull a couple out that hadn't sold in forever that finally sold today, they had all those things in place and they didn't sell because there's not a demand for it. And I think a lot of people, which is where I was at for a long time, they can't not list something that has some value instead of doing something else with it. They just want to get that value out of it. But I'm just more and more convinced that those are the things that eventually pull you down in multiple ways. Actual ways in your store, and your sell-through rate, and your overall impressions and all that. But more importantly, in your psyche. I really think that people get overwhelmed with that low sell-through rate stuff. And it hurts their overall mood, to be honest with you. I'm stoked right now. You know how exciting it is to pay $20 or $25 for all this stuff and to see it sell for days and days and days. I'm going to be sad when it's gone, but not too sad because I'm happy of all the money that I made and the consistent sales here in the middle of the summertime, for goodness sake, or the end of the summertime, as we're getting ready to ramp up for Q4 to have this type of sale is awesome. And it really encourages me to go back through those old listings of items with a low sell-through rate and to lower the prices, do something on them, and to get them sold or to get them out of the store. By the way, I'm not acting like this is novel advice or something like that. I've been saying it for years. All kinds of folks have been saying it for years and years. But are you actually implementing it? Are you doing things that will make your store? I hear people like, I only carry 300 items in my store and my sell-through over 90 days is like 900. And I'm like, how could that possibly be, right? But it can possibly be if you're picking the right items and putting them out there at a good price, good pictures, good title. And I have slowly been moving to that model and making adjustments, and I'm not there, and I'll never be there like some people will be there. I don't want to be. I don't mind selling some stuff that has slow sell-through rate. I've sold some items the other day that nobody even had listed, right? I didn't know what the sell-through rate would be. But it's just something I think more and more we got to choose the right marketplaces to sell things and choose the right things to sell, or you're going to end up getting depressed over having mounds of stuff that's taken over your life that aren't making you any money, and they're taking up space. I don't even know what kind these are, but they were in good shape, and I paid $5 for them, and they sold for $39.95 plus shipping. So I'd love to hear from those people who are really heavily concentrating on sell-through rate and how your stores are doing. My guess is they're doing pretty well, is my guess. So let me know in the comments below. Do you have any strategies for that? Do you have any numbers for, by the way, sometimes we talk about this stuff, there's a lot of new folks that listen. You know, sell-through rate, I don't do it, you know, calculate it out, and people do all those little things. I basically look up an item and see how many are listed versus how many are sold. And if the number of listeds far outweigh the number of solds in the last 90 days, I'm not going to deal with it. If it's, you know, if you see maybe 60 items listed and 30 items sold, it's like, okay, that thing's going to sell if you have the price right, if you have the title right, if you have the pictures right, it's going to sell. But if you find something that's got 200 listings and 4 solds, I'm just flat out not going to list it for any price. For this next sale, I actually took that strategy and applied it in a strange way. These are some old book club stuff, and these things are from the, what do they call it? The crime club right here. I'm just going to leave them here, and you can take a look at them. And there were a few sold comps of a few of these. There were some that had no sold comps. There were some of these books that had really good, looked like you get $20, $30 for a book, and there were some that you could get like 8 or 10 for a book, and it was just this mismatch. And so I figured, you know, if I listed them as one-offs, the good ones would sell, and these would be sitting here forever. So I decided I was going to list them all together in one lot. I think I paid either $1 a piece for 12 or maybe a little bit more, but somewhere around there. And I put them all out there for $80 plus shipping, and sold them like that, and that way I don't have 4 or 5 books that sit around forever. So that's a strategy for getting low sell-through rate stuff to sell quick. Mix it together with something, you know, somebody who bought this, they're probably a reader, obviously, but they may have wanted 2 or 3 particular books in here, and the rest of them got sold because of it, and I'm happy to do it that way. I make a lot of money quick, or a little less money quickly, but I've cleared out space onto the next thing. So I'm excited about some of the new things we're doing, and I'm not taking everything off the store that's not a high sell-through rate item. That's not what I'm doing. I just enjoy it too much. But I am being much more careful in the way I do things. Let me know if you are as well. Or let me know, be honest, are you one of those people out there who just can't cast aside an item because you do see a sold comp for $12 out there, and you're like, I don't want to donate that. I could make $8 on it or something. So sold some Dibdits. I actually had 2 of these that sold. Or maybe I have 1 today. I don't remember. I'm doing deal of the day stuff on Dibdit and putting stuff out there for a great price. And I have people always ask me about these ET things that I have, and they want to buy 1 of each. So I just put them all over there at $2. So 16 different ET pieces. I put a deal of the day out there for $36. $32? $2 a piece, 32 bucks. And somebody bought it really quick, and I'm like, you know, maybe we should put another one out there. And somebody bought that too really quick. So who am I thanking for this? Over on Dibdit.com, Juanita bought the first one. Maybe I'll thank the second person tomorrow. And I think the deal of the day is going to be crazy this time. And I think we'll put this one over on deal of the day. We have these over there, and I haven't checked to see if they've sold yet. And I might put that little Care Bear over there for $1. Somebody might want that little Care Bear. I thought the next one was inside, but it's not. One came out too. Oh, there we go. Let me see if I can find it. I swear, maybe it is inside. What do I do with that thing? Looks like it was the only one left of this particular style, the matte black tumbler, Black Rifle Company, coffee company. And that one sold for 18 bucks, $17.95. Plus shipping. Just have the grenade black one and the green one left is all we have. All right, y'all, we got Turner with some Commonwealth comedy. What do you got?
What vitamin is good for your eyesight?
What vitamin is good for your eyesight? I don't know.
Vitamin C.
Very good, buddy.
Bye.
Had one of our $1 scrubs sell. A little Scoopy scrub. Scooby. What am I talking about? Snoopy scrub. $14.95 plus shipping. I'm going to mention 2 sales on shopcommons.net. A couple of lots, because that's what they are over there. We sell nothing but lots. We sold a Bratz lot for $35 plus shipping. Just, I can't remember how many there were, but no clothes, and they were missing parts and whatever. But there's some decent value in there for somebody to resell. Grams and Pops Vintage, by the way, bought those. Thank y'all. Hopefully you do good on those. And a Barbie lot of 47 Barbies sold for $60 plus shipping. So we sold those ET lots over on Dibdit.com, but we sold a single here on eBay. And this was a Drew Barrymore I can't even say that. Pendant. My goodness. You can't see it. It's kind of under the chain, but there it is. And that sells over here on eBay. We sell them for $5.99 plus shipping a piece. Poncho smells a treat. You can give it to him.
That's Wallen.
Wallen. Give it.
Sit.
That's
Wallen,
what you do with kids when you get old.
Wallen.
And dogs.
Okay. Whatever.
Don't let him without sitting. Poncho's the one sitting. All right. Who you thinking today?
Matthew got a giant junkyard flipper sticker.
No. He got a giant man sticker.
Oh, sorry. I forget what we have.
And then a junkyard flipper sticker.
And then a trash to cash shirt. And we get things moving.
Trash to cash shirt. No, we get things moving sticker.
Oh my gosh, I'm just messing up.
That's right, you're out of practice because you haven't been doing this too much lately. Thank you, Reagan.
Alright, and don't forget to get your stickers at commonwealthpicker.com.
And those, of course, are fairly low sell-through rate, but I'm okay with them because they take up a little space and they're multi-quantity, make money over time. And another example of that would be, I don't know if I'll be able to find them in here. There they are. Scooby-Doo. This is a keychain, mini book keychain. We don't get much out of these. $7.66, I think, is what they're. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's right. But we have like 96 quantity. And so I'm okay with some low sell-through rate items, but these one-off low sell-through rates that I'm going to pull next aren't always the best. And this stuff I've really gotten away from listing, and this one I probably shouldn't have, but I did, and it did sell. It's Mario Kart Gamer. I would normally, it was complete, so I'm like, ah, whatever, somebody will buy it. But normally I would just pull the little movers out and sell those, and they'd sell a little quicker. People turn them into necklace charms and earrings and all kinds of jewelry stuff, handcrafts and stuff, or ornaments for a Christmas tree. But we decided to sell this all together, and it never sold. It just sat there forever. So finally went on the 30% off sale, sold for just under $14 plus shipping. And this next one I'm just gonna have to show you in a picture here because it has been here forever, and it's a poster, and I really don't want to pull it out. And it went on 30% off too because it was a very low sell-through rate item, very few out there, very low demand. So even if there's not a lot of something listed, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to be it's going to be necessarily a fast seller. It's not going to be sometimes. And this one kind of got us and stuck up here for a long time. So like I said, this little poster sold, and it did not sell for much. 30% off, $12.67 plus shipping. So we are going to call it a day right there for shipping and get back to work on some other stuff, get some listings up and do some work. So let me know out there, how hardcore are you about sell-through rate? I'm becoming increasingly more concerned about it and really enjoy making those quick sales and getting more sales headed out than are headed into this shed because we're about at capacity. So let me know how you're doing out there. Appreciate you stopping by as always. Take a minute and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd appreciate that greatly. And leave a comment below. Give a thumbs up to the video and all that wonderful YouTube stuff. We appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you next time. All right, we got Turner with some Commonwealth comedy. What do you got, bud?
What vitamin